All right, let's talk about Kansas and UNLV. And folks, this game. Well, first off, let me say this. At the beginning of the season, we here at Saber Broadcast Network were high on Kansas. We thought they would be a really good football team. Yeah, after last night, I'm not 100% sure um if that was a good call here. They've started the season 1-2 after getting beat to undefeated UNLV 23-20. Now, granted that, and I know we don't really want to talk about this, but I got to say there are some very interesting contenders so far for that last spot in the playoff, the guaranteed group of 5 slot into the playoff. UNLV, certainly they're in the thick of things right now. They're 3-0. Definitely could get that spot if they win their conference championship game. Then we'll see what they do. But um, you look at the stats last night. First downs, Kansas had 18-17 at UNLV. And then we look at the third down conversions. Kansas 5 of 12, UNLV 2 for 13. Fourth down conversions. Now this is huge in this game. Okay, Kansas 0 of 1, UNLV 3 for 3. Total yards throughout this game, Kansas 352 to 267 to UNLV. If you look at the rushing yards, Kansas 199 to 181 of UNLV. You look at the passing yards, Kansas 153 to 86. So you're asking me, where was the difference in this ball game? Well, Kansas had 9 penalties for 91 yards to 3 for 25 for UNLV. But ultimately, it is the interceptions Jalen Daniels threw. He threw 2 interceptions in this ball game. Now, I'll say this. When you throw 2 interceptions to no turnovers for UNLV, that will help swing things in UNLV's favor, especially when it's a game where it's 23-20. Now, we look at the stats. Sluka, the quarterback for UNLV, it was not a pretty game. He was 7 of 18 for 86 yards and a touchdown. Now, granted, that last touchdown, that was at the end of the first half, going to halftime. It was kind of like Kansas defense, they just lost the receiver. Run game, Sluka had 19 carries for 124 yards. Then you had Thomas with 8 for 20, Green 4 for 14, James 5 for 11, Burrell 5 for 9, Allen 1 for 3, and DeJesus 3 for 2. You look at the receiving yards, Bradley had 1 reception, 31 yards. Thomas had 1 for 27 and a touchdown. Kane had 1 for 18. DeJesus had 1 for 6. White the third had 3 for 4, and then so that's that for UNLV. You look at Kansas on the other hand. Jalen Daniels, 12 of 24, 153 and 2 interceptions. Their running back Neal, 23 carries, 120 yards. Jalen Daniels, 11 for 65 and 2 touchdowns. Arnold, 1 for 14. You look at the receiving yards. Arnold, 4 for 58. Neal 1 for 33, Cardell 2 for 28, Morrison 1 for 18, Casey 1 for 10, Grimm 3 for 6. So that's the stats for the game. Kansas just, although they outgained in the yardage, they outgained UNLV in this ball game. At the end of the day, you can't, when you're in a tight ball game, you cannot turn the ball over, and that's what Kansas did. And that was their downfall in this game. So yeah, I mean, if you're Kansas, you got to do better.